Hello world, Stephen Michael Zach here, and today we're taking a look at not one, but two brand new lights from GVM. These are the brand new GVM mats. This is the GVM B200C, and this is the B201. Now I did buy these with my own money, so these are going to be my own brutal and honest opinions, as always. This is what it costs at the time of the recording of the video. Now let's take a look at what comes inside the case. My own brutal and honest opinions, as always. This is new to me. Now first off, let's take a look at the case. This has a very nice handle system, a place for your business card, very nice, solid, rock solid case here. You have very, 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 very strong zippers, so thank you GVM. And when you open this up, you're gonna get a plethora of stuff. The light is actually up here, but we'll look at that in a minute. You do kind of get these detachable things to hold open your case. And inside you're gonna get your instructions and warranties. You're going to get a very nice computer plug, which is a long head lead. You are going to get your power pack with a small head lead. This is a barrel plug. And yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, GVM, for giving us a standard V-mount. So if you don't like the mount, you can replace it. That is awesome. Next, inside the bag, we're going to get their mount, and again, it comes with a mount, so you can mount the power brick, which is awesome. I think this is a little big. You can buy smaller ones, but there you go. There you have it. And then you get the proprietary mount, and I'm going to tell you in a little while why you should throw this straight out in the garbage, but we'll get to that. Now you do have these great straps that hold everything down, and there are loops actually inside the case here. So that you can strap everything down. So that is very cool. Now, pulling open the main compartment, you have a very, very nice kind of like plasticky bag, but it feels very nice quality. And this is the bracket. So there you go, and it does have a baby pin there. And then you're going to get your softbox. This is a softbox. It is a grid. I'm guessing it's a quarter grid, and you're going to get also a actual grid, honeycomb grid. And that is it. As you can see, the case is very, very nicely padded. It does have Velcro bits and bobs. And finally, you're going to get the light, which folds in half. Okay, so let's take a look at the light. Now, first off, the front it does fold in half. There are no LEDs in the center. So there you go. It has a protective covering. So again, it's going to be protected from splash proof. It does have these very hard plastic ends, and each end has a 1/4-20 in it that goes all the way through, which is super awesome. So it does feel nice and rock solid. Flipping it over to the back, it is a little bit wrinkled here, even though there's no LEDs there. Doesn't bother me, but that's just want to make you aware that it does. When you fold it, it does tend to wrinkle in the center, but not a big deal because there are no LEDs there. Now, taking a look on the back, you have the control box with a screen and one button to rule them all. You get an on-off toggle switch, a hard switch, and your DC switch is in the side. And again, you do get these loops in the back here as well. Taking a look at the mount is pretty thin, and it does have these very strange tie downs, strange screws here. So I'm gonna go ahead and preset the screws here into the thing. And this is probably going to be the longest bit of setup here. But as you can see, these are made of very, 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 very thin metal. Much thinner than any other mount I've seen. So I don't know if these are going to bend out of shape, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now let's talk this mount. This mount is god awful, and here's why. Let's go ahead and loosen up the mount here. In what world is this acceptable? Yeah. I would throw this out. I'm probably going to either use a C-stand head, or I'm going to use like a Manfrotto arm or something else, or a super clamp, or I would probably go online and just replace this with a metal one. You have to just make sure that the metal one has deep enough holes here, because I did have some problems sticking it on the pin. But anyway, yeah, not great. Throw it out. Garbage. I don't know how this passed quality inspection. And again, the brick does have a standard V-mount, and everything else seems to be made very, very, very well. Setup is very, very, very easy. First thing is I did buckle these down, and I do highly recommend it. Now, I saw at NAB that they were sliding these underneath. However, when I did, it actually started to pull out. So I'm just going to slide these above and not use those because I have a feeling that it's going to pull out anyway. But you just slip this, just bend this up and slip it in the holes here. And it seems to be okay. It doesn't seem to be bending as of yet, but time will tell. And there we go, it's all set up. And one thing I did forget to mention on the panel is you do have these little clamps, and that is because you can actually clamp up to 4. You can clamp 4 of them together to make a much bigger light, and you can on the 200 as well as the 100. So a little added bonus feature. So the only difference between the bags from the 100 and the 200 is with the 100, you are going to get this very, very nice drawstring bag that's made of almost like a plasticky, like Gore-Tex material, some kind of material here, stretchy material. And then with the 100, you're going to get one of their old cloth, one of these plushy bags. Now, I have a very, very, very strong feeling that they had a whole bunch of these lying around because I've gotten bags like this before with GVM products, so they probably had these lying around. But either bag is pretty solid, so no worries there. And lastly, this grid is absolutely terrible. There are threads all over this. There are actually, the way that this is put together is that they actually slit holes in it and ran things through. It's not stitched together. And it's got a lot of like strings. It is very difficult to take off. If I was taking this off, I would grab it by the end tab and pull it off. I would never grab it by either the sides or any of the grid material because it may rip at any time. And as you can see, it's kind of oddly bunching up at the top, here at the top. So not fantastic at all by any stretch of the imagination. This gets very, very, very twisted. So not great with the grid. If you have a 200, you could probably get a replacement, but I don't know for a 300. If you get something this size and replace it, you'd have to shop around and look and maybe have it special ordered, specially made. So the grid, the construction, not great at all. Okay, so here is the light with the honeycomb grid on, and we're at 3900 Kelvin. And just take a look at the way the shadows work and the beam angle. It does cut the beam angle fairly nicely. And here it is with just the quarter grid cloth in. And here are the shadows, and we're at 3 meters away. So I'll get out of the way so you can see that. A nice even beam. And here is the beam angle bare. Okay, so let's talk about these controls now. We do have the toggle switch at the top there, and you have, of course, light, Bluetooth, RF settings, and settings. Let's go ahead and press in the settings. You've got language, the product just tells you what firmware and all that stuff. You do have a studio mode, so we can go in and click on that and make this a studio mode. I'm going to double click to go back one menu. Your reset, double click again. You don't want to touch that. Moving to RF settings, you can use the RF function with this, especially when these are attached to one another or whether they're not attached, you do get RF control. And then of course you get your Bluetooth reset. You can reset your Bluetooth. So you have RF and Bluetooth in here. Now let's go into the lighting setting. With one click, we have CCT. Let's go into CCT, and you just take the one knob and you go between your brightness, your CCT color, and of course you do have plus minus green. Let's go here. This goes in 0.1 integers, which is great, from 100 all the way down to, you go all the way down to, here is 0.1. And let me go ahead and turn out that light so you can actually see how bright that is. 0.1, and here is, let's go up to 1%, and there is 1%. So you can get very, 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 very small in this. Let's go back to 100 here and click once, move down, click again, and this goes from 10,000 all the way down to 2,000, which is very nice. We'll go to a 39 because that's what our camera's set to. And yes, you do have a very large plus minus green setting, which is fantastic. And yes, this plus minus green is super usable. Moving on from the basic controls, we'll go ahead and tap twice here, and we'll go into this HSI mode. And this has an absolutely beautiful HSI here. Here's the 240, the nice blue. It's also got very, very strong reds. The colors on this are very vibrant. It's a typical HSI mode, nothing to write home about. It is just, it is what it is. Moving into RGB mode, this is a mode where you have controls of your reds, your greens, your blues. Pretty self-explanatory here, double tap. And then we're going to go into gel mode. Now this does have Lee and Roscoe gels. Let's go ahead down to the numbers here. And there are quite a few gels in here. Unfortunately, they only give you the numbers. They don't actually tell you what the gels are. So let's double click to go back. And here are your Roscoe gels. We'll go down to numbers. And again, just numbers and things like that. They don't actually tell you what anything is. Next, you're going to go into this mode, and that is your source mode, which is fantastic. You can actually match other sources. You can match a tungsten, HSI 5600, HMI 6000, a studio lamp. You can match a sodium vapor lamp, a halogen, arc lamp, a candle. You have a sunrise sunset mode, a daylight mode, an overcast sky mode, and of course a CFL cool white bulb mode. So very handy if you are trying to match other sources. The next we have special effects, and of course we have lightning. We have, let's go into CCT loop. Of course you have your candle, and here's what candle looks like. Candle is pretty flickery and kind of meh. And you do have to, when you go into the special effects, you do actually have to click into them, otherwise they won't start. Here's bad bulb, and then go to TV. Paparazzi, I won't show you, we all know what that does. Explosion, just is like an explosion here. Pulsing is another blinky one. Of course, you have your disco here. You have your cop car. You have your party mode here. And again, you can control the speed. You can control the brightness, the saturation, the speed. You get lots of nice controls here. This is your hue loop. Of course, you get fireworks here. You get your fire. You get ambulance. And of course, you get SOS. Now, keep in mind, when you use the HSI, whatever the HSI is set to, SOS is always going to be, which I find a little strange, but the last color you used is going to be what SOS is. So you will have to dial in the color that you want to use. And there you go. That's pretty much it for the controls. So let's talk cons, and let's start off with the mount. I'm not sure the mount is going to last. It is very, 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 very thin, and I really do not like the actual baby pin that it comes with. You can remove it, which is fantastic, so I will probably either replace it with a Manfrotto arm, or I'll use a grip head or some other way to attach this. The mount that it comes with, the supplied mount, is absolutely terrible. That clickiness, I don't even know how that passed quality control. It is absolutely terrible. It feels like junk. It feels like it's going to fall apart. So that is a huge negative. Moving on, other negatives, the special effects are just kind of meh. The candle fire effects are not impressive at all, just kind of flickery. Some of the other special effects are better, and they are usable, but I find that in most lighting that comes out, the fire effect is never as good as the Luxley. I will link all my Luxley playlist up there, so you can take a look at that. But all in all, the fire effect is just kind of meh. Now let's talk about the honeycomb grid. It is absolutely terrible. Not only is it starting to fall apart. It's shredding. There are strings all over it, but it's also slotted. It's not stitched. It's almost like they put a slit in one and fed some stuff through. It's getting bunched up. It looks like it's going to rip very soon. It's getting all bunched up, and it just does not instill confidence. If you have the 200, you could probably replace it. I don't know about the 100. You'll have to shop around. But the honeycomb grid is definitely not great. And of course, let's talk about the one button to rule them all. While this is a very nice and efficient way of getting the controls off a ballast or off the back of a light, again, it is one control to rule them all, although I find it very easy to use. And you can use the phone app. So the problem with the plus minus green is, say we go to, let's say we back out and we want to go to 3900 Kelvin. And to color correct for 3900 Kelvin, I had to do, I had to go down to a magenta 11 in order to get this spot on. Now watch what happens when I move away. Let's say I now want to go to 5600 Kelvin. What you'll notice is that there is the green magenta shift did not change back to 0. So this could absolutely kill your shot. That is something to be aware of, that if you are messing with the plus minus green, you are going to have to go back in and you are going to have to take that out if you're changing your color temperature. So that is just a little bit of warning for you. That could absolutely screw up your shot, because if it's too green or too magenta, you'll start getting eyeballs and teeth that are either green or magenta. So that is just something to watch out for. Okay, from the cons to the pros, this thing has a usable plus minus green. Thank you, GVM, for doing that. That is super rock solid, that we can actually correct the light to match our other lights and get it spot on. That is fantastic, and both of them work very, very well. So I really love that. The one button to press them all was a little bit difficult. I would probably, until you get good moving through the menus with one button, I would definitely use the phone app, which is also very good. The build quality here is great. You've got grommets in every other corner. You have pretty much everything you need. The grid cloth looks great. The softbox works even better. I love the fact that the corners overlap to really cut off the light. The special effects in here are okay. Like I said, candle is pretty bad, but you do, of course, not only get Bluetooth, but RF, so you can link a whole bunch of these together and make one solid panel. So you can either get like a 3x3 or a 4x4, depending on which one of these you have. The case is built very, very, very well. And I think that the general build construction is really fantastic. So there you go. There you have it. You can control your reds, your greens, your blues. That is super awesome. Some other things I really like about this is the fact that it has a long lead. It does have a standard V-mount. Thank you, GVM, for not making me I don't have to go out and buy a proprietary clamp so I can clamp the power box to the light stand. Thank you. Unlike some other brands. So that is a huge plus. I also like some of the other effects. They work very, very well. You have RF control. You have Bluetooth control. The HSI looks beautiful. And you do get a nice case that is rock solid with rock solid zippers that will not tear apart. It's got a beautiful HSI. Everything looks crisp and clean. And that's it. This thing, do I recommend it? And that is a definite yes. Definitely if you're a running gun, if you're doing documentaries, even in your studio, it does have a studio mode, so that is another plus. But I think GVM has put forward probably one of the best products they've put forward in a long time. So those are my thoughts, but I want to know yours. So leave your questions and comments in the notes below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to mash that bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. And feel free to use the links below as it helps out the channel. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this is new to me.